The silent invasion. The sprawling orbital command center around Earth in 2082 was humanity's pride, a testament to how far they'd come in just a century of serious space development. Commander Maya Chen stood at the observation deck, watching the blue-green planet spin below, wisps of cloud dancing across its surface. At 42, she'd spent half her life protecting Earth as part of the United Earth Defense Force. The stars were within humanity's reach now, with colonies on Mars and Europa, mining operations throughout the asteroid belt, and exploration vessels pushing ever outward. Commander, we're picking up anomalous readings at the edge of the solar system. Lieutenant Kovik's voice came through her comm implant. Multiple objects decelerating from FTL speeds. Maya's spine stiffened. Classification. Unknown, Mom. Nothing like we've ever recorded. They're big, each one approximately 3 kilometers in length. Sound the alert. Level 2 protocols. I want all defense platforms at ready status. She strode quickly to the command center, the peaceful moment forgotten. The large holographic display already showed the objects. 7 massive ships, their hulls a deep purple-black that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Their design was organic yet geometric, like nothing human minds had conceived. How did they approach without early warning detection? Maya demanded. They appear to have some form of stealth technology, responded Captain Harris, her second in command. Traditional scanners didn't pick them up. We only detected them when they decelerated. For 3 tense days, the ships maintained position just beyond Neptune's orbit. Earth's nations united in unprecedented cooperation, preparing defenses while attempting to establish communication. On the 4th day, they responded. The message came simultaneously to every communication device on Earth and in orbit. We are the Kalari Empire. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations with your species. Maya didn't trust it. 20 years in space defense had taught her that coincidences didn't exist. The timing was too perfect. Humanity had just developed its first functional FTL prototype. 1 year, maybe 2, and they would have been able to venture to nearby stars. But the world's governments were eager for first contact. Against military advisement, they welcomed a Kalari delegation to Earth. The aliens appeared vaguely humanoid but taller, with 6-fingered hands and smooth, silvery skin that seemed to shift colors subtly as they moved. Their eyes, 3 of them arranged in a triangle, were entirely black. They're scanning everything, Maya told the Secretary General during a private meeting. Their diplomatic devices are mapping our entire defense network, civilian infrastructure, everything. Commander Chen, I appreciate your caution, but we verify their technology. They're just translation and environmental adaptation tools. The Secretary General smiled reassuringly. The scientific exchange they're offering could advance humanity by centuries. Maya kept her teams working double shifts, analyzing every bit of data they could get on the Kalari. Her lead scientist, Dr. Vikram, discovered the first real evidence 3 weeks into the peaceful negotiations. Their diplomatic devices are introducing a subtle virus into our systems, he reported, showing her the code analysis. It's dormant now, but with the right trigger, it could take down our entire network. Maya finished for him. We need to alert. The alarm klaxons cut her off. Every screen in the command center flashed red, then went dark. The attack came without further warning. The 7 massive ships suddenly accelerated toward Earth, while hundreds of smaller craft deployed from their hangars. Earth's defense platforms fired automatically, but found their targeting systems compromised. Missiles veered off course. Energy weapons failed to discharge. Maya watched in horror as the first beam of vibrant green energy lanced down from the lead Kalari vessel, striking the North American Defense Headquarters in Colorado. The entire mountain simply disappeared, leaving a glowing crater. Similar beams struck every major military installation around the globe in a precisely coordinated sequence. They knew exactly where to hit us, Captain Harris whispered, his face ashen. They've been planning this from the moment they arrived. All stations, execute protocol blackout. Maya ordered. The protocol was her own creation, a complete system reversion to isolated, pre-digital technology that couldn't be hacked or compromised. At least some of Earth's defenses might still function. It wasn't enough. The orbital command center shuddered as a Kalari destroyer approached. Maya ordered immediate evacuation. She downloaded what intelligence they had gathered onto a quantum-encrypted drive. The Kalari technology they had managed to analyze. Their tactical patterns, everything. Everyone to the escape shuttles, she commanded. Scatter protocol. Don't head directly to Earth. As her shuttle detached, Maya watched the command center erupt in white-hot flame. The Kalari ships descended into Earth's atmosphere, deploying what appeared to be landing craft. The invasion had begun. The shuttle's stealth systems, primitive by Kalari standards, but effective enough, allowed Maya and her small team to reach Earth undetected. They landed in the remote mountains of New Zealand, one of the few regions not immediately targeted. Within days, they learned the extent of the devastation. 80% of Earth's military capabilities had been destroyed in the first hour. Major cities were under Kalari control. The aliens had established processing centers where humans were being taken for unknown purposes. "They're sorting us," explained Dr. Vikram after analyzing intercepted Kalari communications. "Taking engineers, scientists, and military personnel first. They're also particularly interested in children with high aptitude scores." "Resources," Maya said grimly. "We're not just a conquest. We're resources to them." Over the next 3 months, Maya connected with other surviving military units and resistance groups. The Kalari occupation was methodical. They didn't want to exterminate humanity. That would have been simple with their technology. They wanted control. Labor. Mines. Reports filtered in from around the world. The Kalari were forcing human scientists to work on adaptation of Earth technology. They were experimenting on military personnel, testing biological responses. And the children they took were being trained, or programmed, for unknown purposes. The Kalari hadn't expected significant resistance. Their intelligence suggested humans would capitulate quickly when faced with such overwhelming technological superiority. It was the first miscalculation of many. 6 months into the occupation, Maya had established a global resistance network. Operating from hidden bases, using technologies the Kalari couldn't easily detect, they began gathering intelligence and conducting strategic strikes. Maya studied the salvage data intensely. "There's something off about all this," she told her command team during a secure meeting in their underground Tasmania base. "The Kalari technological advantage is enormous, but their tactics are inefficient. They're not leveraging their superiority effectively." "Maybe they're just arrogant," suggested Colonel Kaminsky, who had escaped the European command purge. "No." Maya pulled up the analysis of Kalari communications they had intercepted. "Look at these transmission patterns. There are significant delays between local command decisions and execution. I think." She paused, the realization dawning. "I think they're waiting for instructions." "From whom?" asked Dr. Vikram. "From their high command," Maya replied, her eyes lighting with the first real hope since the invasion. "The ships here, this isn't their full empire. This is just an expeditionary force. And I think they're on a very long leash." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She paced the small confines of her quarters, the pieces falling into place. The Kalari had struck Earth precisely when humanity was on the verge of becoming an interstellar species. They had come with overwhelming force, but not with the full might one would expect from a galactic empire. "They're afraid of our potential," she whispered to herself. "This isn't about conquest. This is about prevention." The realization changed everything. If the Kalari feared what humanity might become, then humanity needed to become exactly that, as quickly as possible. Maya called an emergency meeting of all resistance cell leaders. Through secure, quantum-encrypted channels, she laid out her theory and her plan. "We don't just fight to survive. She told them, her face illuminated by the dim light of the underground bunker. We fight to evolve. The Kalari struck first because they saw what we could become. Now we show them they were right to be afraid. Across the world, in hidden bunkers and mountain redoubts, resistance fighters nodded in grim agreement. The Kalari had awakened something ancient and terrible in humanity, the absolute refusal to submit, the drive to overcome any obstacle, the willingness to pay any price for freedom. The Empire had struck Earth first, believing they were preventing a future threat. They were about to discover they had created one. Humanity unleashed. 2 years into the Kalari occupation, Earth was a transformed planet. Major cities had been converted into processing centers, surrounded by energy barriers that glowed an eerie blue against the night sky. The alien governors, overseers, they called themselves, ruled from towering structures built atop the ruins of human government buildings. But beneath the surface of apparent control, the resistance grew stronger every day. Maya Chen no longer wore a uniform. Her once regulation hair now hung in a long braid down her back, streaked with premature gray. Scars marked her face where she'd barely escaped a Kalari patrol. But her eyes burned with the same intensity as they had on the day of the invasion. "Show me," she instructed as her team gathered in the command center of Redoubt 7, a massive underground complex built into the Canadian Rockies. Dr. Vikram, now sporting a thick beard and missing 2 fingers on his left hand, activated the holographic display. "We finally completed the analysis of the Kalari biological samples we recovered from Site 3. The display showed cellular structures, DNA analogs, and biological simulations. They evolved on a high-gravity world with extremely limited solar radiation," he explained. "Their physiology is adapted for efficiency and durability, not adaptability. And that's their weakness," Maya said, studying the displays. "Their immune systems can't handle rapid adaptation." "Exactly. They're susceptible to certain microorganisms that pose no threat to humans. More importantly, they can't biologically adapt to Earth as quickly as they'd need to. That's why they remain in environmental suits outside their bases." For the first time in years, Maya smiled. "So we have a biological advantage. What about technological?" Colonel Kaminsky stepped forward. Having lost an arm during a raid on a Kalari outpost, he now used a prosthetic reverse-engineered from captured alien technology. "Their systems are highly integrated," he explained. "Efficient, but inflexible. When we captured the communication relay last month, we discovered they're operating on what amounts to a single operating system. One vulnerability means system-wide vulnerability." Maya nodded. "And their command structure?" "Hierarchical to a fault," replied Captain Torres, their intelligence specialist. "Local commanders have almost no autonomy. Every significant decision requires approval from their fleet commander, who in turn reports to someone called the expansion director back in their home system." "Communications lag," Maya observed. "How long?" "At least 17 hours for a round-trip communication to their nearest major base outside our solar system." Maya absorbed this information, the pieces of her plan falling into place. "So they're biologically vulnerable, technologically interconnected, and command-constrained." She stood and addressed the assembled leadership. "For 2 years, we've been fighting defensively, focusing on survival. Today, that changes. The plan took another 6 months to prepare. Resistance cells worldwide coordinated through quantum-encrypted channels the Kalari couldn't detect. Resources were gathered, technologies reverse-engineered, and agents positioned. Maya insisted on total operational security. Only cell leaders knew the full plan. On July 7, 2085, exactly 3 years after the initial invasion, they struck. The first phase targeted the Kalari environmental systems. Using engineered microbes designed by Dr. Vikram's team, resistance members infiltrated air filtration units at major Kalari installations worldwide. The microbes were harmless to humans, but caused severe respiratory distress in Kalari biology. As Kalari forces struggled to contain the biological attack, Phase 2 began. Exploiting the communications lag, resistance technicians uploaded a virus to the primary Kalari network node in what had once been Geneva. The virus, disguised as routine update authorization from Kalari High Command, spread through their integrated systems before they could isolate it. "They're blind," reported Torres as reports flooded in from around the globe. Defense systems, communications, environmental controls, all compromised. Maya nodded grimly. Launch Phase 3. Across Earth, hidden weapons platforms activated. These were humanity's last-ditch defense systems, concealed during the initial invasion and enhanced with reverse-engineered Kalari technology. They targeted the 7 original Kalari ships still in orbit. The massive vessels, caught by surprise and with their defense systems compromised, couldn't respond effectively. 3 were destroyed outright. 2 more suffered critical damage and fell from orbit, crashing into uninhabited areas of the Pacific and Antarctic. The remaining 2 attempted to flee but found themselves trapped by gravitational tether beams, technology stolen from their own landing craft and adapted by human engineers. On the ground, resistance fighters emerged from hiding in overwhelming numbers, armed with conventional weapons and captured Kalari technology. They stormed the now vulnerable alien installations. The Kalari fought back fiercely, but without coordinated command or functioning systems, they couldn't mount an effective defense. Maya led the assault on the North American Command Center in what had once been Chicago. Flanked by her elite team and thousands of resistance fighters, she cut through the Kalari defenses with cold efficiency. In the central command chamber, they found the expansion director, a high-ranking Kalari who had arrived just months earlier to assess the occupation. Unlike the others, he wore no environmental suit, instead relying on a personal shield that mimicked Kalari atmospheric conditions. "You cannot win," he stated as Maya approached, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. "The Empire spans 50 star systems. This is merely one expeditionary force." "I know," Maya replied calmly. "That's why we're not just taking back Earth." She gestured to Dr. Vikram, who activated a captured Kalari communication array. Across the display flashed confirmation of transmitted signals, directed not at Earth, but at every known Kalari world. "While you were busy occupying us, we were studying you," Maya explained. "Your biology, your technology, your communication protocols. The virus we uploaded doesn't just affect your systems here. It contains instructions that will propagate throughout your network, back to your core worlds." The expansion director's silvery skin paled to white. "Impossible. The security protocols were designed to prevent external attacks, not authenticated updates from a trusted source," Maya finished for him. "Like a director's authorization codes, which we now have." Within days, Earth was largely free. Pockets of Kalari resistance remained, but without central command or functioning technology, they were quickly contained. The real work, however, was just beginning. Maya stood on the observation deck of the recaptured orbital command center, watching Earth rotate below. The scars of occupation were visible even from space. The massive Kalari structures, the environmental damage from their resource extraction, the ruins of once great cities. "The Kalari homeworld has gone silent," reported Captain Torres. "Our virus worked better than expected. Their entire command structure has collapsed." "And the other Kalari worlds?" "Chaos. Their hierarchical society can't function without central control. Some colonies are already reaching out, not just to us, but to other species the Kalari subjugated." Maya nodded. Intercepted communications had revealed the true extent of the Kalari Empire, a domain built on the conquest and exploitation of a dozen other species, none as adaptable or resourceful as humans. "What now, Commander?" asked Dr. Vikram, joining her at the viewport. Maya considered the question carefully. The immediate threat was neutralized, but humanity had changed. The invasion had forced an evolutionary leap, technologically, socially, even biologically, as they adapted to fight the Kalari. "Now we rebuild," she said finally. But not just Earth. We have Kalari ships, their technology, their star charts. We know there are other species out there. Some friends, some enemies. You're suggesting we go beyond our solar system. After everything we've been through. Maya turned to face him, her expression resolute. The Kalari attacked because they feared what we might become. They were right to be afraid, but for the wrong reasons. They thought we would be conquerors like them. She gestured toward the stars visible beyond Earth's curve. Instead, we'll be protectors. The Kalari created a weapon when they attacked Earth, not the weapon they feared, but one that will ensure this never happens to any species again. 6 months later, the first human-commanded interstellar fleet departed Earth's orbit, built from reclaimed Kalari vessels and enhanced with human innovations. The 12 ships carried representatives from every nation on Earth. Their mission was multifaceted. Establish contact with other species subjugated by the Kalari, secure human interests in nearby star systems, and ensure that no empire would ever again threaten the freedom of sentient beings. As Maya watched the ships disappear into FTL from her command chair on the flagship Phoenix, she reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this point. The Kalari had attacked Earth to prevent humans from reaching the stars. Instead, they had catapulted humanity into the galactic community centuries ahead of schedule. The Empire had struck Earth first because they feared what humans might become. Now, the galaxy would discover exactly what that was.